One man can change the world with a bullet in the right place.
Welcome back to your favorite interracial romance known as the New to Pew podcast. My name is Max Fallis. Thank you very much. Give it up for me. And before you ask,
who the fuck is that guy?
Well, that is the BBR Backman. How are you, sir?
We're here, buddy. It's been an exciting couple of days, especially once we dig into our topics and guests this evening.
Yeah, looking forward to the tinfoil hat discussions. You want to give your guest an intro here, sir, or should I just go right to the X-Files music?
So this is a dear friend of mine. We're going to call him Preacher for this episode. And he and I like to dig into these. Well, what if this? What if that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we kind of run all the hypotheticals, and he's really good at it. So welcome, Preacher.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Welcome to the podcast, sir. Looking forward to these hypotheticals, if you would. Quote, unquote.
This is one of those things that, like, it kind of ties into the firearms culture, that we're preparedness minded, and we kind of try to read what's going on in the landscape to see what's coming, be it tarot cards, chicken bones, or the news.
I'm just going to say 4570 is the only government I trust.
How you like them apples?
Crazy stuff been happening lately. DHS leaked documents week before the midterms, political or free speech being altered. I mean, all kinds of stuff happening right now. And it's not tinfoil, it's legit documents.
This is the part that's kind of crazy, is we look at stuff that's gone on over the last couple of years, and people were labeled as conspiracy nuts because of their opinions on things, and then we found out they were right.
And repeatedly, this isn't the first time, right? I mean, you know, right now we have confirmed meetings of Twitter executives, monthly meetings. Facebook has a portal that's still up, by the way. You can go to that at facebook.com/x-takedowns/login. And that's for government entities to go in, flag things, and have Facebook pull it down.
Why don't you dig into that one a little bit more for the folks who haven't been following it firsthand? They can get your take on exactly what's gone on as far as Facebook.
So there have been documents that were leaked from the Department of Homeland Security, and there was, I guess a year ago, there were some Facebook leakers too, but nothing confirmed. And now we have leaked documents out of a Intrepid report from the DHS showing that they colluded with Facebook, and government entities came in and actively told them what needs to be taken down and what doesn't. And I don't know. I just don't have enough faith in the government to say that they were doing that altruistically.
Well, part of the problem is, and the argument for a long time has been that Facebook and Twitter and these other social media platforms are private companies, and they can remove things at will because they're private companies. But when it's being done at the behest of government, that is in fact censorship.
Yeah. They're, you know, it's you know, we use the term proxy war all the time lately. That's exactly what it is.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I remember seeing Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan confirming what Preacher just said, that, you know, they had a couple of meetings with the FBI. So I think it's just kind of, it's not new news anymore. I think people just kind of written off social media as a way of really getting any sense of reliable information. And the more time goes on, the less people are even using Facebook and other social media things. It seems like people are, for lack of a better term, starting to kind of unplug from all that bullshit.
Well, listen, they announced it, right? They had the DHS Disinformation Governance Board. You know, that came out, and the backlash was immediate and huge, right? And so it just went away. But it didn't go away. You know,
right?
They themselves were bringing to light what they were doing in the dark. It failed, so they just continued to do it in the dark. So, you know, that there are some theories out there that this was leaked on purpose because of Elon's takeover of Twitter and all the documents that he'd have available to him to see.
Hey, you know? What's that expression, Max? What's done in the dark will be brought to the light.
Yep, that's what my mother-in-law said to us. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think in 2022, there's not much stock you can put in social media anymore, because looking at the business model of itself, eventually somebody's either going to pay money to have their thing showcase more, or pay money to have somebody else's thing showcase less. Like, taking the government out of it for a second and thinking of like two competing businesses for advertising space. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, now that we're at the end of the line with it, it's not too far-fetched that someone would be pushing certain things and pulling certain things when you think about what social media ended up being, which is basically a controlled, I don't want to even say information source, but it's literally just passing around pieces of paper to each other in a virtual space. So eventually that system has built-in failures, and that just showcases how you can't avoid it.
I think the first step was pushing so much advertisement on it, right? And it was trying to compete with television because so many people were getting off of TV and just watching social media. Mm-hmm. And paid advertisement is always propaganda. But
true.
The fact that the government has stepped in and now said that, because the whole benefit to social media was that it was organic, right? Yeah. And the idea that in countries where the media was already suppressed or the media was government controlled, you had people that were sharing what was going on in their immediate space, and they couldn't stop that signal. They couldn't hide that. People could get the truth out in ways that the government couldn't censor. So here, in what is supposed to be one of the freest nations in the world, we're finding that our government is in fact censoring what is supposed to be an organic feed, on top of Zuckerberg's algorithm and preferences forcing certain ads and things down your throat. Yeah, there's a lot of manipulation going on there. And I'm off of Facebook, but I've seen notifications that people have posted that there's a moratorium on politics until after the election, starting today.
Yep, that just came in a couple hours ago, actually.
Wait, what do you mean?
So anything you post,
discussion about it?
No,
it's going to get scrubbed.
Yeah, anything new gets scrubbed.
Huh.
Anything.
We're basically buried until after the election. So let's say a high-standing member of a political party was out of town and her husband was caught engaged in strange behaviors in the house at 2 a.m. with a man in his underpants.
Wait, allegedly.
Hammers.
Allegedly.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Hypothetically.
I don't believe any of it.
That kind of information could get buried.
Listen, I don't believe, I'm the conspiracy nut, right? But I don't believe anything that's coming out. Any of it. None of it makes sense. Everything's just too fast, right? Like, the story's changed 30 plus times in the course of several days. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody has any footage of what's going on. There's no body cam evidence. There's no security cam evidence. They have security. They don't have security. Like, who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
That's
whatever it is. As soon as you start asking intelligent questions, the whole whatever cover story is out in the news falls apart pretty quickly, Right. Nobody knows how he got there. Nobody knows. There's no video footage of anything. There's cameras all over the place. So even if there isn't security staff there, there's cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me those cameras aren't on? Or the neighbor's cameras didn't pick anything up? Like, how did he get to the house?
Well, their house was attacked before, and they had security footage. It was a couple of years ago. I don't remember how long ago, but
yeah.
They had security footage then. Where is it now?
I think well, obviously what they did was after one negative experience, they then downgraded their security instead of upgrading it, because that makes sense too.
Yep.
Or maybe it's just the news cycle is just trying to be the first to report whatever. So,
or
uh-oh.
or it's if we want to go a little crazy, it's a distraction at best, false flag type stuff, right? But a distraction from CISA, which is part of the, Homeland Security that's involved in disinformation, misinformation. Why wouldn't that be happening a week and a half before midterm elections, where most of the seats that were supposed to be Democrats seem to be going red? Not that I think that the red's going to do anything different anyway.
Sure. I don't know. I just want to know why every time Nancy's out of town, her husband's getting hammered.
Good question.
Last time he caught a DUI. This time he's naked in the house with some dude with a hammer.
Helmet, what's going on? Sanders, what's going on? It's Mega Maid. She's gone from suck to blow. What?
To go back to the Facebook thing, it's not just Facebook. It's Facebook. It's any of the big tech. It's Microsoft. There's multiple texts that have been released between member of the DHS and a board member of Microsoft, stating that we don't understand why more tech isn't getting on board with this, and they have to be comfortable with government. I worked for an ISP many years ago, and said ISP, anybody who thinks that the government hasn't been involved for a long time, they have. Right after 9/11, they came in and they installed software on everybody's servers. I was there. I saw that. So this is nothing new.
It's just that
it's been
the
going on.
Is closing in.
Yeah,
or expanding
exactly.
out, I should say.
It's expanding to the point that it can't be hidden anymore. 2018, Trump signed in the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Act. It's a new wing of the DHS devoted to protecting critical national infrastructure. They have an involved mission to monitor social media discussions while routing disinformation concerns to private sector platforms. At that point, Facebook created the portal for them to use. But again, not just Facebook, Twitter. They were meeting monthly with Twitter officials.
Because Twitter gets way more traffic on a daily basis than
Facebook massive does. Amount more.
Yeah.
Massive amount more.
And it's weird, with all that oversight, they still can't stop the spam bots from bombarding my account.
Well, no.
That's a paid-for service, though. People are paying.
Absolutely.
That's revenue.
Absolutely. That is revenue. People have been reporting that they're losing hundreds and hundreds of followers. Well, guess who you're losing? Not that I think that, anything has really been done so far to Twitter. It's kind of like on hold while the Tesla engineers come in and actually go over the books, as it were. Well, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They got rid of Twitter engineers. They brought in Tesla engineers, and they started doing a deep dive. That's going to take some time.
What do you think is going to come from all of this with Twitter?
One of two things. We'll actually have a free speech platform where, it's the Wild West, or status quo. The government comes in, they tell them to shut it down, or they're gonna, what was it? The 3 days after the Twitter deal went through, the Department of Justice started an inquiry into Tesla and their finances. So,
well, I know
Elon's got that going for him.
Elon had a whole class action against him with the Dogecoin stuff as well.
Yeah,
accusing him of pumping and dumping it. So the eyes are already on him, or at least his wallet.
That's the nature. That's the nature of crypto. That's just doing what everybody does. But
speaking of which, let me segue to this. The was it CDBC, the supposed new digital dollar we're all going to have to transfer over.
Oh, is that not great? Because you can trust a currency distributed by a central bank on behalf of the government.
Yeah, is that the new welfare check?
What could possibly go wrong?
That breeds into everyday life, as people are speculating.
I was actually looking at the U.S. debt clock today, and it's interesting when you do the comparison of actual bills in circulation from just 2000 to now. It's gone down a significant amount. I think where's the actual dollar? So in 2000, there were 3,538,082,300 Treasury dollars in circulation. Now there's only 836 million.
Because everybody's swiping their
cards.
So everybody's swiping their cards, but they've been pulling it back too. It's not so much just swiping the cards; they're pulling it back and burning the bills, and then it just becomes ones and zeros.
Yeah.
And if it's all ones and zeros, why not a central bank cryptocurrency that's controlled by who knows?
Cobra bucks.
Citizens of the United States, I am pleased to announce Cobra's Economic Recovery Plan. If you want money to buy food for your children, take all your valuables to the nearest branch of Extensive Enterprises. There, all goods will be exchanged for Cobra currency.
I had a discussion with a younger guy at work about being old enough to remember not only the $2 bill, but the $500 bill.
I remember $1,000 bills.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember being it on the news that was going away because it was too easy for people to move money around.
They'd rather you walk around with a fucking sack of gold. It's a lot easier to chase a guy down with it.
Well,
exactly right.
Britain doesn't have anything bigger than a 20.
All right, what other tinfoil topics you got, Preacher?
What do you want?
Pull out the notebook. Let me spin the wheel and just pick a number on the list.
We got the war in Ukraine that disappeared for some reason before the election. Haven't heard anything about that. Where'd our $70 billion go? We got world water shortages. We got Brazil shutting down everything due to the election chaos. That's kind of crazy. Like they shut down, what is it? 271 highways are currently blocked, and they're not saying that they're going to open them up again until it's a military coup. So that's great. We got the Yangtze River so low that it can't produce electricity. The Rhine River can't ship boats, so boats are still. Lake Mead, almost dry. That's producing, I think, like 9% of its potential electricity. That fuels a good chunk of the electricity to California, all the water to Vegas, most of our irrigation in the Southwest. So that's drying up. You got the Mississippi so low that the Army Corps of Engineers 24/7 dredging it to allow one barge through at a time. Normally they go down the Mississippi at 5 to 7 abreast. So running out of water. I mean, it's a drought. Eventually it'll rain. They will come back up again. That's the way it goes. But it's a pretty severe drought the world over, and you can't move stuff via ship. That's how most of the Midwest gets its corn and wheat to market.
So where's all the water?
Drying up, evaporating. No rain to replace it. we could talk about Lake Mead and the Colorado River being a completely separate thing since they rerouted the Colorado at the source, and that's going over the Rockies instead of down into the Southwest, and that goes. But I can't remember who it was that said that the next major war in the U.S. is going to be about water. You may not be wrong. I mean, people can't get water. They can't get their food that they're not growing from the fertilizer that's not coming from Russia and the Ukraine. So, and here's the thing. Here's the shitty thing about, or the crappy thing about this. It's not conspiracy.
You can say shitty. It's okay.
It's not tinfoil. Like it's just the way it is, and they're still trying to sell you. Kelly Clarkson's still trying to sell you stuff on HSN.com or whatever it is. Wayfair. You got to buy your cheap furniture and everything else.
Hey, speaking of Wayfair, did we ever crack the code as to why they were selling duplicate items, but at like extremely high prices, like a $50 cabinet with a girl's name was suddenly $15,000?
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that supposed to be how they smuggled in the adrenal?
Isn't there a notebook?
Kids?
I think there was a notebook about that.
Yeah, a logbook, I believe. Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of trafficking children. Ghislaine Maxwell,
who?
Epstein's girlfriend.
Who?
Yeah, she doesn't exist, right? She was convicted of trafficking humans to no one.
To no one.
That's a weird process. It's the only time I've ever seen somebody get convicted of selling something they weren't supposed to sell, but then no one was ever charged with receipt of those goods.
Yeah. The most successful business sold nothing to nobody.
And then somehow got jammed up for it.
Because it's illegal to sell nothing to nobody.
That's
why.
She probably didn't pay taxes.
Where's she at? Like, where'd she end up at? Does anybody know?
No.
Because I know her family was part of a known large spy ring, and I'm just wondering where she ended up at. Her sister's in charge of a massive media outlet over across the pond, spanning multiple countries.
She's gonna turn up as a reporter, covering some soccer game and shit as her new fake ID.
Or we're just never going to hear or see from her again.
Right? A lot of cold fronts coming through that door.
She's going to disappear like that journalist who was investigating Hunter Biden. He disappeared 6 months ago. Nobody's ever seen him since.
It's funny how that doesn't make the news.
Nope.
It's never top of the news cycle.
Well, listen, if we got these documents from the DHS saying that they're manipulating big tech, what are they doing with the regular media outlets?
Yeah, what are they doing with the stuff that was already controlled?
Yeah.
So,
or if they're willing to let this come into light, what are they not willing to let come to light?
Let me ask y'all this. So, it's obvious that social media is easily corruptible, as is video media, as probably was print media. So how can there be a clear and safe transmission of data if it's not person to person? If at some point in that process it can be corrupted, then
it has to be decentralized. It has to be on individual servers. It has to be not subject to the company itself having any sort of regulatory control of their own product. That's the only way. If we're talking person to person, it's got to be two-way encrypted. So you need to take Facebook, right? You need to take it off of Facebook servers. Everybody loads the Facebook app on their computer, their phone, whatever. All the data that they do is controlled by their device. And then it goes out. It just goes out to the internet, to the cloud, whatever. That's not perfect as far as the social media solution, right? There is no perfect to a social media solution.
Well, the other part is you look at something like TikTok and the permissions it gives itself, like access to everything on your device.
You need to, not just TikTok, you need to look at every app you have on your phone.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
They all
want
do.
Your camera, and they all want your microphone, your location.
Some of it's, most of it's benign. A lot of it's benign.
Your call logs, your text logs, all of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's not. And we click, and I do it myself. We all do, right? We click accept so we can use the app that we want to use.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn certain things off, but once you agree to the terms of service, you've agreed to the terms of service. It's a legal binding contract. You're in for losing whatever data you've given them. You know, I don't know the answer. You know, I'm not a Luddite by any means. So it's just a matter of what you truly value as far as personal privacy and security.
All right, here's another
Most
one.
people don't value very much, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, and I still say all of these challenges that go out, like the 10-year challenge, post a picture of yourself 10 years ago and
Entirely bot driven.
Yeah.
Entirely bot driven, entirely data collection.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They want to know what you look like now. They want to know what you looked like 10 years ago. From that, they plug it into it. It can be plugged into an algorithm. They know what you're going to look like 50 years from now.
Right.
Facial recognition software is already being used rampant across Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
You know, it's only, you know, you think our government's not using it? You think the free world isn't using it? They absolutely are.
It dawned on me the other day that there's an algorithm in AI that creates art off text that you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So taking that and merging it with the what's that shit called? Not jib jab, deep fake technology, and the fact that there's an app and filter that can make the face you're making now cry or stick their tongue out. So there's facial manipulation. How long until there's the possibility of seeing a person on screen saying words that they're definitely not saying or even really?
It's already happened.
Yeah, it's already been done.
Roger Stone swears vehemently that a video that was released of him talking in a car wasn't him talking. And if you look at it close enough, I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. But there's some sketchy things in that video. If you look at it and you pause it at times, like his mouth splits open, like a kid from South Park.
Really?
With a flip top. Yeah. Like at another point, his mouth and lips completely disappear. You know, it's close. It's close. Bruce Willis sold his image to AI to have it deepfaked so that he can keep making movies after he dies.
And James Earl Jones just gave them his voice to do Darth Vader until perpetuity.
Yep. In perpetuity.
So,
such a great word, perpetuity.
Yeah. So what's the
I mean,
future
before long, man.
You know?
At what point can you can't trust? At a certain point, you can't trust what you see.
Yeah.
So, and if you can't trust what you see, you know, this is why I made a joke about we're living in a dystopian Orwellian hellscape. This is beyond anything that he even imagined. We're close in a lot of ways, but it's so far beyond to where a person's voice isn't their voice anymore. A person's image isn't their image anymore. You know, what's the end game to that? I don't know. It's already causing problems. What's it going to be 60 years down the road?
Well, you combine that with the AI in the robots. I mean, we're headed for Terminators. I don't care what anybody says.
It happened. There was a couple of Japanese scientists got killed by their own creations. It's happened.
Well, they're dropping off the. Did you see the video of them dropping off with a drone? They're dropping off the Boston Dynamics dog with a Maudus on the top of it, and it just walks on off.
50 caliber belt-fed machine gun mounted to a robotic dog delivered by aerial drone. What could possibly go wrong?
A lot of Call of Duty out there, bro. Dudes getting their fucking, what do they call it? Care packages?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
The scariest thing about technology is, as useful it is, it's equally, if not 2 times as dangerous.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah. It's almost like there's no way to really balance that input in life and in society, because there's always a negative to it. Like, yeah, but what happens if?
We've gotten amazing technologies that have helped a lot of people, you know. At the same time, you know, there's a other side to that coin, and there's a lot of technologies that are not good for people or for humans in general. You know, just the amount of social media, right? TikTok, all these things. You know, we're seeing massive spikes in suicide jumps of young kids because their entire ego is tied up into what people think of them on social media.
Yeah.
That is the worst possible thing for humans.
And there's no escape from it. You know, it used to be if you were bullied at school, you went home at the end of the day and at least you had your family. Now you take the phone with you and you continue to get bullied all through the evening, and you stay up late watching what's going on and looking at the phone, and it continues and continues. Yeah.
When the likes stop, confidence drops. Like it's not good.
No, it's not.
But again, you know, I say that I still use social media.
Listen, they're going to turn the power off and we're all going to eat bug soon anyway, and then it won't matter.
That ain't a good outcome either. That's not good.
Somebody will start taking a picture of their bug-filled fucking meal and putting it on Facebook or Instagram.
Instagramming their bug plate.
They're already doing it in Australia. They're feeding kids school lunches of bugs, of crickets, and things made with cricket protein.
While we're on the eat bugs thing, tie that together with who has been buying up land in the U.S. that's generally farmland. And
so Mr. Gates owns, I think it's 86% of all arable farmland in the United States right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's another big chunk that's been bought by the Chinese, isn't there?
Yeah, down
I want to say the Chinese government is buying property in the U.S.
Yeah, there was a big, I think it was Arkansas, and you know that area in the southeast. The Chinese companies are buying a lot of it as well. And I don't think it's being farmed. So if it's not being farmed, that's food that's not growing. That was traditionally grown for generations.
Okay, how many major food distribution centers have suffered random fires in the last year?
A lot, but
I'll put it this way. I got upset when I thought it was like 12 or 13. I was like, that's way too many. And then I started looking
70,
it up.
80.
No, it was like 175 weeks ago when I looked at it.
So here's the question. How much of that is just historically happens in industrial buildings? You know, without the data, we can't. We can say that looks crazy, right? And it does. But
how many fires were there 5 years ago? You know,
right.
And we have no real history of that.
You know, it could be a fairly frequent occurrence. I'm not talking complete burn down of plants, right? A lot of those fires are just, there was a fire here. There was a fire on the roof. Maybe an AC unit overheated, something like that. You know, the number is a lot, and it's kind of crazy. But I don't know that was the impression I got looking
at this stuff, is that it's way more than normal, and it wasn't small fires like a roof unit going up. It was like something happened, got out of control, and the entire place that it's been there for 80 years is now gone because it burned to the ground.
Oh no, they can't feed us the food that's poisoning all of us.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, now they're going to feed us a different food to poison us.
Well, yeah. It's all poisoning us. That's part of the that's part of the problem with the Mississippi evaporating. The Mississippi is one of the main catch-alls for all the farming off-runs. So all the Roundup, all the glyphosate that's being sprayed for our monocropping farm industry runs into Mississippi. Well, it's water soluble. So when the water evaporates, so does the glyphosate, which means it's in the air, which means it gets into the clouds, which means that it rains down. So even if you're growing an organic farm somewhere and you get a rain cloud, chances are, I think it's 70% chance you'll have glyphosate coming down out of the sky.
That's also like really disturbing. Just the quantity at that point has gotten to be so ubiquitous. It's like you can't get away from it if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can't. And it's not a weed killer. Roundup's not registered as a weed killer. Roundup is registered as an antibiotic. So what happens when you take antibiotics when you get sick? It nukes everything. Good bacteria, bad bacteria. We need lots of good bacteria to do well. Well, if all of our food has it on it and it's an antibacteria, what's it doing to the inside of us? Now, there's arguments from Monsanto saying that it doesn't do anything because it's designed to break the shikimate pathway among fungal rhizomes in the soil and the plants, and that's actually how it kills it. It starves the plant out, the weed out, because it's breaking its method of nutrient uptake. And that since humans don't have a shikimate pathway, that's why it doesn't affect us. Name one drug, an antibiotic, that doesn't have off-use side effects. So,
yeah, everything. And sometimes it's mild that you just end up getting, digestive issues, but it's because it killed everything in your gut. And again, you need that bacteria to process your food and keep you alive.
Leaky gut syndrome, IBS, all kinds of stuff could be a potential side effect.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Let's go old school for a second. Preacher.
All right.
Did we land on the moon? Pull a classic out of the crates. Let's go old school.
Yeah, I think we did.
Wait, what? That was not the answer I was expecting. What are you doing?
What? I have nothing to believe that we didn't.
Oh, wow. Not even the waving flag on the moon where there's no atmosphere or air?
It got put up crooked. I don't know.
Okay.
It's possible. Is there footage that could have been staged on the planet? Absolutely. But our ability to hit the moon with objects isn't in question. In fact, you know what? Yes, we landed on the moon. Is some of the footage that we've seen fake? Very possibly.
See, that's always been my argument. Is
you can shoot a laser to the moon and have the laser bounce back and pick up the readings. That's scientific fact. So, I think we've been to the moon.
Any news broadcast you watch uses stock footage.
Right.
What you see on the news isn't necessarily what's actually happening. It's a representation of what's happening.
I mean,
sometimes they're showing you actual live footage. Sometimes they're using stock images. Same thing with news you read in the paper or news you read on the internet. They use stock images all the time.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me if at some point they said, okay, so yes, we landed on the moon, but some of the video that you watched was shot on a soundstage on Earth so that we would have better quality
because the cameras
video.
broke. Or
Sure.
we were transmitting, trying to transmit it, and it didn't work out well.
The aliens didn't approve the video footage we shot while we were on the moon.
Very possible.
Union Boom guy just got in the way. Yeah, I got you. See, that's a logical.
The Greater
explanation
Space
for it.
Authority wouldn't approve the video we shot, so we had to do a reshoot here on Earth. Yeah, I don't know.
The United Galactic Front.
The Federation of Planets, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
None of that would surprise me at this point. But did they find something on the moon that was so terrifying they didn't want to go back? Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either.
Like the Transformers movie.
Sure.
Space worms.
Aggressive space fungus.
What else
I'm
you
not
got
going
on the
into
list?
that.
He's ducking and dodging.
Uh-huh.
He sidestepped the moon landing. Now he's ducking under that one.
No, Preacher's not going to get into the fungus. He's going to save that for episode 2.
No, old school conspiracies, I like them because,
birds aren't real.
Oh yeah!
Well,
Yes!
birds aren't real.
Yes!
Oh, God.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Wait. Let's stay with birds aren't real. I love this concept, and as smart
so
it
great.
is, as it holds up in its own logic, unlike a lot of Marvel movies. Like, it makes sense. It makes so much sense, and the leap in technology for the birds to recharge while sitting on the line, like just little touches like that make that quote unquote conspiracy so fucking believable.
Oh, it's so fun. That's what's great about them. They're so fun. Like, who doesn't believe in a conspiracy? I'm not saying you gotta believe in them all, and there's a ton of them out there. But man, some of them are just fun.
Yeah.
The birds not being real is one of them. It's just fun to
Here's what I didn't know
brainstorm that
about
one.
until recently, and one of the girls at work who's much younger than me, and we were having a conversation working late the one night, and I was like, all right, you say you're down. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? And she's like, oh, Avril Lavigne died. That's not really her.
Oh, that's
Like, without
heard that one.
hesitation.
why her?
I don't know. Apparently, that's one that's been around for a while. That, like, she died 20 years ago, and they immediately found a replacement for her. And the girl we currently know as Avril Lavigne is not.
It wouldn't
Okay.
surprise me.
I blow your mind. Back in like
They do it with Disney kids all the time.
those are just probably clones, which is why they all break down. You see Katy Perry when her one eye like glitched out recently. I'm telling you, bro. Like,
Oh my God, Russell Brand was making fun of her today about it.
oh, I bet. But like you watch the video and she's staring right at you, and then it just closes on its own. It's like that baby doll when you rock it back and you rock it forward. Like, and then she does something. She supposedly, like, my daughter said, it's probably eyelash glue, but I can't.
Why does eyelash glue make your eye close?
Close, exactly.
Right?
If she
Yeah.
blinks,
It's not like it closed and got stuck. It just
Exactly.
closed on
That's
its own, like
it.
slowly just kind of
It
powered
closed.
down. That one eye powered down.
Could be a mild case of Bell's palsy. A lot of people have been getting that recently.
Completely unrelated to any certain shot that they may or may not have received.
it's more believable
Completely
that,
unrelated.
that she lost Wi-Fi signal. And that's why. That was her reconnecting.
I can go with that one.
No,
The
there's
show
no way
had to
you've
go
got
on.
antennas that big that you lose the signal.
It was just jamming. Like all the cell phones and the audience just totally blew off that 6G.
Yeah, because everybody's up there like this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm,
See? And she's one big antenna with all that tinfoil on. So, I'm sorry, I totally went on a rant. So there was a cloning
I've
conspiracy
been doing it all
guy.
night.
There was a guy that said that he was the original bassist for Motley Crue. Like that the guy who was now known as Nikki Sixx was a clone of him. Yeah, like, and there's like at least one long form documentary on YouTube about him, but like he wholeheartedly believes that he was the original.
He's a clone? Wow.
He's a 10, but he thinks he's Nikki Sixx's original clone. Yeah. So,
That's
but how can he
crazy.
prove that he's the original and not the clone?
that's the
Like,
thing.
you wouldn't know.
He's
You have to look in their eyes.
when they start blinking like lizards. You mean like sideways? You gotta
No,
wait for
they
that?
have little. You gotta pull the eyelid
barcode?
down and shine it in there.
What was that? That was a Schwarzenegger movie, wasn't it?
It's like
Yeah.
the sixth day
Which one?
or the last end of days. It was like during his
No,
downward
not
spiral.
End of Days.
I can't
During
remember.
his downward spiral. But yeah, I mean,
6 Days sounds familiar.
there's people that have always said that, like, the music industry clones you and all those other things. So, a new Avril Lavigne, but of all the people, her, like, but I don't know. It was a tragic accident, and they had a tour booked. So, let's put a wig on this chick and just.
I
use the
didn't
backing
look
tracks.
real deep into it. Yeah.
It don't sound too fucking nuts. I mean, when's the last time you saw an Avril Lavigne interview? You know, like nobody's really
well, I
checking
mean-
for her.
She's pretty not part of the scene anymore, so who knows?
She's still doing shows because she just popped up in my feed not long ago. And like that, and again, weird thing. I had a conversation about it, and then randomly she pops up in my social media feed.
She was just at that music festival I took my kid to. As a matter of fact, she was one of the performers. That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like, you could see
She
her
did a
perform.
quick video that making fun of it, where she was like, "Oh, my favorite song is favorite comments from my fans. My favorite song is such and such," and then "You're not the real Avril," and she like folds over.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So she's aware of this conspiracy theory that's out there, which is the other thing I thought was really funny.
She's going to start questioning her own existence. Going to her management. Am I the real one? Yes, we never cloned you. I mean, what else you going to tell a clone? You're not going to tell
Listen,
a clone
just
that they're
because she's
cloned.
still touring, though, doesn't mean she's relevant. I mean, the Rolling Stones are still touring.
Well, people have seen him. People are paying to see him. Music industry clones, though, bro. Katy Perry's a bot. Short-circuiting fucking Terminator. Fucking T.
She's a fembot.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
She's Austin Powers fembot.
Bagman, do you have a sponsor for this episode?
Of course. I just sent you the link to My Patriot Supply. That's going to go in the show notes. My Patriot Supply is a great source for everything from freeze-dried food to first aid supplies, water filtration, all the things we're going to need in the post-apocalyptic dystopia.
So I can order my
mean-
worm meals from these guys?
No. You can order real freeze-dried food that isn't bug protein.
Is there a discount code, sir, that we can apply at checkout?
Negative. It is automatically calculated.
Look at that. AI.
Yeah,
has
you're
a-
going to use the
Very
link
nice.
in the show notes, and it's going to take care of you automatically.
Thank you for that one.
So that's it for this episode. Be sure to check out the sponsors we mentioned earlier if you want to join the conversation.